Welcome to the Friendlyjordies podcast. Mine is Jordan. Unfortunately, Jordan couldn't be here today because he is performing as we speak.
Yep.
But we will try to entertain you.
We'll do our best.
We'll do our best.
I'll try my best Jordan impersonation. But yeah, he's in the gong. So
he's in the gong performing tonight. But we've got some fun segments for you. The first one is Miss.
I'm so excited. Yeah.
This segment is basically created for Mislav. I went to Liverpool.
Yeah.
In the southwest of Sydney, and I bought a bunch of Desi snacks that we're gonna rate.
Yeah, dude, I am
It's a huge bag. So I want to make this into a series.
Yes.
We'll do Desi this time. We're gonna do all different geographies from all over the world.
Dude, that's a great segment.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm really excited.
maybe. Do you still have your tea, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with this.
Mm-hmm.
This, first of all, have a look. It's called Frontier Handmade Premium Rusk. Check it out.
Holy shit.
This is a staple in all Desi households, whether you're Paki or Indian.
Rusk.
Yeah, rusk.
What the it looks great.
You
Do you want to put the camera on me and I can... Yeah. Even though I'm a bit dark. There we go. Look at that rusk. Rusk. I've never heard of it in my life.
Yeah. So this is a staple. It's kind of like you have it with tea.
Ooh, maybe I'll...
Either in the morning
you can have
or
it says
evening.
here, enjoyed best with butter, tea, jam, soup, or milk.
Yeah, you can have it with several things, but usually the standard is,
May I?
Miss. Yeah, open
Yeah,
it. Standard is
Dunk it.
dunk it and
Yeah,
have
yeah,
it. That's
yeah,
how you
yeah.
do it.
You don't mind if
Every
I crack this
household
open?
does have it. Yeah, you just crack it open.
Okay.
You got to rate it out of 10. 'Cause
Hell
most
yeah.
of these snacks I've already had, so the surprise isn't there. With other when we do other countries,
Yeah.
I'll give them a proper rating.
Out of like
too.
politeness. Jeez. How the fuck do you open this?
Hardcore. Just cut it with your teeth.
Out of politeness
Mm-hmm.
and like just because you would even buy snacks, I would just be like 10 out of 10, but I'm going to try to be really honest, you know? I'll try to be objective and
Be honest.
Fucking no, this is like made for the World War II.
yeah. It's. Oh my God! There's another pack.
This is insane. You gotta try one too, right?
Yeah, I'll try all of it, but
Oh my, dude, this could outlast Oppenheimer's bomb.
oh, by the way, I saw Oppenheimer. I'll give you full review.
I
after
want
the
to review.
segment.
I want to review.
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
give you
yeah.
after the thing.
Okay, I'm in. Okay, I'm having a husk. Wow, what the fuck?
First, have it on its own,
Okay, yeah.
and then dunk
What a
it into
dude,
your.
what a great segment. I think Jordan would appreciate this too. All right,
I
first.
actually told him he was really excited about
Oh,
it.
really? Okay, ready? Husk.
Now, after you've had it,
Oh, actually,
dunk it into your tea.
that's interesting.
If the tea is cold, and keep it in there for like 5 seconds. Yeah, good. That's good. Now have it. You know how the English have like biscuits with tea?
Yeah.
Pakis and Indians have this. I don't know if like all Indians do, but I'm sure the
Actually
northern
not.
ones often do. But this is definitely a Paki staple.
Not bad. Like, what are we rating out of? 5 or 10?
10.
Look, when I first bit into it, so when I first bit into it, I was like, it's just cardboard. But, I have to say, bloody,
There's a product of India but made in Australia.
it's made in Australia. What the
In
fuck? Holsworthy.
in Victoria and Sydney, depending on
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. So, that's really interesting. It's made in Australia, not by white people, I doubt. But
No, it's
yeah.
made by Taj India in Australia.
Oh.
A company called Taj
Oh,
India.
gotcha.
It's
So when I first bit into it, I was like, oh my God, it's just cardboard. This is fucked. But then there was some flavor.
It's got like a sweet flavor. It's like, imagine
Subtle. It's
if
like
you dehydrate a plain cake
It is
for
a bit.
ages.
Yeah.
Where it loses all moisture, and then you eat it.
Yeah. Look, but in terms of like, am I being brutally honest? In terms of 10 being like an amazing snack, I'm going to go 6.5 out of 10.
I think that's fair. I'd give it, for the nostalgia, I'll give it a 7.5.
4. Fair. Fair. I don't know why I said 4. Fair, yeah.
Okay.
But it's not bad. Like, it's like, I could have 1 or 2. It's just very dry, but that's why it's good
dry,
for the
but
dunk.
That's why like you have to dip it in.
Yeah, the dunk is good.
And the dunk makes it actually really nice.
Tim Tams are better, man.
Tim Tams are better, but you can't dunk Tim Tams like that.
You know what you do with Tim Tams?
Well,
Bite.
Suck.
Yeah.
What's that called?
I don't know.
Tim Tam dunk.
Yeah, I guess so. That shit's awesome. But yeah, I'm gonna go 6.5. Not bad.
Not bad. All right, this is Mislav.
Oh, I know what this is.
Nimco. Have you tried it?
Is this like the mix of stuff?
Yeah.
Aussies eat this shit.
Product of Pakistan.
Okay.
This is doesn't say exactly where it's made. Oh, here we go. From Karachi.
Sick. Pardon me.
Delicious. So it's a Nimco mix. It's essentially how would you describe it? Here you go. Open it and try it. How would you describe it?
Oh, and maybe I've never tried this one.
Yeah,
it's like a spiced nut mix, right?
Yeah, it's a spiced nut mix plus
United King.
like deep fried little
salty things.
Yeah, salty stuff.
Product of Pakistan. Namkeen taubas.
Namkeen means salty. What's the other word?
Taubas. Bass.
Taubas. Can you spell it?
Taubas.
I don't know what that means.
What the fuck?
I don't know what that means.
That's strange.
Yeah, that is strange.
Okay. God.
Now this is a staple
Whoa.
to have with booze, actually. It's like nuts. You know how you have nuts with whiskey or some shit?
Yeah, I'm going to try a whole bunch. Whoa. Holy fuck. It's different. I haven't tried this. Hold on.
Show them the cover.
Oh my God. It's so intense.
Yeah, it's intense.
Holy fuck.
It's definitely acquired taste. I never liked it, honestly. It's something that was consumed all over, but I was never a fan.
Oh my God. Okay. This one. Whoa, it's so spicy.
Yeah, it's spicy.
Holy fuck. Dude. That's the best version of that I've tried.
It's pretty good, though.
Yeah.
But it's still acquired taste.
You know what that is?
It's spicy and salty.
Yeah, you know what that is?
What?
7.5 out of 10.
7.5?
Yeah.
I'll give it the same.
That's good. It's fucking intense though. That's like you know what it tastes like a little bit? Like they've dehydrated a chicken and put a fuckload of like cayenne pepper on it. It always tastes like chicken.
I don't know if there's any. I think this is vegetarian.
No, I'm sure it is, but it tastes meaty.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's like
that'd be perfect. In fact, fuck it. Perfect with booze. I'll have another sip.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's meant to be had with booze or just like when you go to a party, someone's house party or some shit. And
Yeah.
Before the food comes out.
Yeah,
there's
snacks.
Like charcuterie board or some shit
Yeah,
like
it's that.
This is the charcuterie board version of Pakistan.
Honestly,
and India too, I'm guessing.
I will tell you here, but that is the best version of that I've tried. Because the ones here taste like fucking nothing. There's no flavor.
By the way, you're taking most of this home, so if you like it, that's good.
Oh my God. I'm taking this home?
Yeah, what am I going to do with all this shit? Yeah.
You have like a wife and a family now, like brothers.
That's true.
Just take it home. That's 7.5.
This is an interesting one.
Oh God.
All right, this is Pakistani. This is definitely not Indian, but this is one of the favorite snacks of Pakistan. It's a lolly, but it's called chili mili.
What? Are you serious?
Try it. This is the fun. Okay, by the way, when you try it, I want to tell you, girls in Pakistan love this.
Chili. Put the camera on me for a sec. It's called chili mini.
Mili.
Oh, milli.
Chili is what you think it is. Chili. And mili means to get. So, chili I get.
Wow. Chili milli.
And it's
hot gummy.
It's a spicy lolly.
All right. So I can tell you right now, good. It's halal because I wouldn't be able to eat it otherwise.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll be honest with you, dude.
Be 100% honest.
No. Before I taste it, I'm gonna be honest. I already know I'm gonna fucking love this.
There's no way, dude. This is like.
Yeah,
this
are
is
you
a
serious?
lolly.
Are you fucking serious?
I don't know. I never liked it, but there's a big fan base for it.
It's smells like chilies and
Kind of like
lollies.
the Pakistani version of what's that fucking choppy, that crocodile candy?
I don't know.
Chocolate?
Chomps.
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 Yeah, it's like chomps.
Oh, so it's like indigenous to the Pakistan, all right? Yeah, chomp is indigenous to Australia.
Chomp is, but it also like.
So they're like little chilies.
Well, they're shaped like chilies.
They're shaped. Yeah. Look, they're shaped like little. They're shaped like little chilies. Like, and I think they have little faces on them. Oh my god, it smells amazing! I'm so excited. Chili milli. It's just, you know what's gonna happen if I like them. I'm gonna have to get these. But all right, let's go. Bottoms up. Oh, you gotta try it too. Here.
Well, yeah.
Go same time. Hold on a sec. I feel like 2's good because it's like 1's so small, you know. Hold on. Ready? Down.
1,
2, 3.
That's the most bizarre tasting thing ever.
Tastes like a lolly.
Yeah, it's a lolly, but it's spicy.
Wait a sec. Where's the chili? Is it coming? Oh, it's coming. Slowly, maybe?
Coming. It's not like a pepper chili. It's a subtle chili, but it builds up. So if you say you like this, I'm going to be very surprised.
I like it.
You like it?
I like it a lot.
Rate it out of 10.
Let me have my mind, huh? I'm going to be honest. As a lolly, I'm 9.
Oh my god, okay, so I think it's a 5. I would only have it if I was like starving.
These are amazing. Chili lollies. This is fucking...
Oh, maybe because you're... I don't know. I don't know if this is true, but someone told me once when I was a kid that people that like this are usually high on estrogen.
I am high in estrogen.
Yeah, maybe that's the reason.
These are fucking awesome. 9 out of 10.
Or ridiculous.
9 out of 10. It's
Don't trust him. You have to be from Croatia to enjoy it.
It's like a sweet lolly. First of all, the branding is on point. I don't know what's going on with the green guy, but they're like, it's like a lolly with a hit of chili. Dude, this should have happened a long time ago. This is a revolution.
Well, dude, it's been a thing since fucking forever in Pakistan.
So good.
I'm surprised by that.
Dude, so this is the winner.
shocked.
So this is the winner so far. It's good flavor. That's fucking chili milli. This is great.
Chili.
Dude. So you didn't think that I'd be into that one?
All right, now maybe
Paki-
we'll do the drinks at the end.
Yeah, you got so much.
I got so much.
How much
shit.
did you spend?
Like $30
Fuck.
and all of this stuff. Okay.
Yeah, that's nice. Chili milli is good.
Next.
Do you want more chili?
Do I want? No, I'm okay.
Fuck. I mean, I'll eat all of them, dude.
Anyway, I think these are all chips.
Perfect.
All right, okay, let's try these. So this is, I think, an Indian one. I was
Okay.
told that this is a fan favorite in India.
Okay.
I personally have never tried it.
Perfect.
It's called Chataka Pataka. Balaji wafers. So Chataka means, I think, again, spicy, and Pataka means a firework. So it literally translates to as like spicy firework. And then if you still didn't understand it, it also says flaming hot on it.
Show them.
Well, you show them.
Oh my god, they look like twisties.
Yeah, they look like twisties.
Holy shit. Chataka Pataka. Oh, it's lime chili.
I've never tried it, so it will.
You want to try first?
All right. Now let's just do it together.
Camera. Yeah, we'll do it together. Chakada Pashada. All right. Oh my god. Oh shit. Holy fuck. What?
Wow, it's just like there's a reason why the Portuguese came for spices. It's just too much. in
It's
everything.
too much flavor. Oh my god. It's so fucking strong.
Yeah, it's a bit strong.
Oh man, you know what?
It's not bad though. If it was less,
I thought when it started, right? Fuck, it's fucking
Yeah,
spicy
it's
as well.
Yes.
Like, okay, they're basically
It's
twisties.
already left a stain on my finger. Which
Yeah.
means they've used like shitty
It's,
like, masalas for it.
it's like they dumped a whole jar of masala. I mean, I like it. I like flavor, but I'm still eating it. But
I would rate that a 6, and I'm being generous here.
I would be, look, I'd say 6 as well. I'd say honestly 6, maybe 5.5. Because like it's like a twisty. You think it's nice, but then you try it, and it's so spicy and so. It tastes like chicken stock as well. It's like so intense.
I'm sure they must have used chicken stock on it.
It's kind of addictive though. I can't stop eating it.
Yeah, it's probably because it probably has heaps of MSG as well.
Yeah. This shit would shorten your life.
For sure, dude. Why do you think the life expectancy is
Yeah.
60 in Pakistan?
I'm gonna say that's a.
Keep that on the desk. Okay, this
Yeah.
is...
That's
Dude,
that's a 6, 5.5, 5.5 for me.
This one is a Paki
my
staple as well. Every kid has had it.
Yeah.
It's called slanty.
Slanty eyes.
It's missing the eyes. It's just slanty.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to eat potato snacks.
Dude, this is so spicy. This is. You know what this is? This is as spicy as that beef jerky I brought.
Nah, dude, that was spicier.
Ugh.
What did you rate that?
5.5.
5.5.
Yeah.
All right, try this.
Okay.
I've had it.
Ooh.
It's like when you're
Slanty.
going to school. This is what you buy
show
from
'em?
the canteen.
This is slanty. Oh, this is like chips from the canteen kind of thing.
Yeah.
Slanty. God, I look like a fat bastard. All right, slanty. All right, let's try it. Ready to eat extruded potato snacks, salted. I think I'm gonna like this. Doesn't look as insane as the Indian one.
Yeah, these ones aren't spicy. You can get spicy ones too, but they're not. And the original ones.
Oh
are
my god! You know what's crazy, dude? I think I've tried these somewhere. I think
No way.
I've seen. It looks like pasta.
Yeah, and it looks.
It looks
there's
like
no
pasta.
color on it.
Is this pasta? What the fuck? I was not expecting that. It's. I'll be honest with you. This is the thing. That's nostalgic for you, isn't it? Must be.
It is.
Pass more.
But here's the thing. They're objectively not good.
Well, I'll be honest. You know what they taste?
cheap. It tastes like really cheap. Like they.
You know what it tastes like? You know what it tastes like?
What?
It tastes like potato chips that's been left out for a week.
Yeah.
Like,
but these are like new.
they taste soggy. Like they taste off.
Yeah.
Like when you bite into them, they taste like there's no structure to it. It's like they're just like bad chips.
Do you know what this reminds me
The
of?
flavor's good.
When you're in Pakistan and you go to like a local bakery or something,
Yeah.
they don't really know what good baked things taste like. So you go there and they're like, try our world famous donut. And it's the worst donut you've ever eaten. Because the man who cooked it is just based it on what he's seen on TV.
Yeah.
And it's just like, first of all, their donuts aren't even fried. They're like baked. And so they're like,
This is bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
This is like a 3 out
This
of.
reminds me of some brown man being like, oh, let's try to copy Cheetos.
This is a
And I'm
3.
like the worst thing in the
This is
world.
a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, this is a low.
Yeah.
I would say I would give it like a 3-4 as well.
Yeah, maybe a 4. No, 3. You know what?
Being
you know what,
generous.
you know what I'll say? I'll say 3.5. But you know what? It's just shit. It's just like a potato chip, but shit.
We might skip on these because these are basically similar shit. It's just
What is it?
potato chips.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want
These
to
are
skip it,
Phil's Magic Masala potato chips.
I want to try it. Unless you want to.
Try it. But keep that back.
Okay.
Can't go back to things.
I've never tried masala chips.
Well, you had all of these are masala chips.
Fuck, this is gonna be hard to open. Can I just go boom?
Nah, it's gonna like just.
I'm doing it. Fuck.
Exactly.
Let's try it.
And Mislav has spilled all of it on his crotch,
Mm-hmm.
which is why you shouldn't blast it.
I'll chuck it. Don't worry. There's no flavor.
No flavor.
Try it.
But what about like it says it's masala? I've never tried it.
It tastes like nothing. It doesn't taste like anything.
Phil's Magic Masala, flavored potato chips.
Where's the flavor?
No, there's some flavor.
Really?
It's not great.
I can't taste shit. So far, not so good, eh?
4 on 10.
That's like a... Yeah, that's like a 4 for me too, actually.
Like it's a nothing chip. You're
It's
right.
just a nothing chip.
All right, now we're done with chips.
Wait, camera on you, camera on you.
Oh. Now we're done with chips.
You know I'm going to keep eating these throughout the pod, though. Just-
Yeah, don't do that because like every time you bite, they hate it.
I won't then, yeah.
Yeah, but you can have it afterward. All right, there's like
I'm really sad that the
2 cookies
Pakistani
now.
chips was shit. I feel bad for you.
this is probably one of the again you have it with tea.
Okay.
Try it.
Tuck.
Tuck.
They're a fucking biscuit. It's a jap.
Yeah, it's a biscuit.
All right, let's try it. Are we keeping in mind what the winner is? The chili's the winner so far.
Well, not
For me.
you. For me, it's the Nimco actually.
Which one's that?
Nimco was this one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, let's try some tuck.
This is winning up until now.
It's called tuck, ladies and gentlemen. Let's tuck. Oh, Jesus Christ. They're crumbly. Oh, God.
I used to love them as a kid, by the way. I
There's,
haven't
there,
had it in like maybe a decade.
there is a consistent theme here of like lack of flavor. I mean, it's either punch you in the head flavor, like knock you off your horse, or like this is cardboard.
Well, give it to me. I don't remember it as being a cardboard.
This sucks.
Pass me the bugs.
You know what that is to me?
What?
That's a half a star out of 10.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Okay. I used to think this was mad.
This is air. This is air. It's nothing. What is that?
Yeah, I think the nostalgia makes it better, but you're right.
It's a half a star.
You know, growing up, I used to think this was like a 9. And now I'm going to give it a 9.5.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It still does it. The memories are back.
Pure nostalgia. That you couldn't pay me to eat that. There's nothing there. I can't. It's nostalgia is a powerful thing. Did you buy a gun?
Gun?
It was a gun.
Now, these are 2 drinks.
Oh my God.
One is from India and the other one is from
You're
Pakistan.
going crazy, dude.
That's it.
Pack cola
Yeah.
and limca.
Pak Cola, Pakistan Cola, and Limca.
Ironically, the Indian one's green.
Ironically, the Indian one's green. I actually, last time when we tried Pak Cola on the pod, which was like, I don't know, 2017 or some shit,
Yeah.
we tried the original green one. I think this is a different flavor.
So which should I start with?
Yeah, either one. Try with the Indian one first.
Yeah. And then I'll hand it to you.
Both
God,
of them are lemon.
I really wanted it to be amazing. I hope I'm not being a dick.
This is like
Am I being a
very
dick?
Common.
I'm just being honest.
No, be honest.
Yeah.
There's no being dick.
The chili's amazing. The chili lollies are nearly 10 out of 10.
That's
so-
insane.
Oh yeah, okay. This is exciting. Limca. Kind of smells like an old shoe. Fucking hell, it smells weird.
Okay, quick tidbit of history. Before the 90s, India
Ugh.
was like a closed economy. They didn't allow foreign brands.
Yeah. So this
was like
Sprite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had it before.
Look, honestly, it's not bad, but it's just not great either.
It's not good, man. There's a weird taste in it
It's a weird taste.
that I never liked
it's
about it.
chemically.
It's like Solo. It's Solo, but it has
It's off,
a very
though.
industrial
Yeah.
chemical taste to it.
It's an industrial chemical taste. It's not very good. But you know what? If I mix that with I'd drink it. I'd drink it, but it's not good.
It's not good. It's a
not
5 on 10, honestly.
Yeah, that's
And this is like the Pakistan equivalent of Limca, I guess.
Okay, I'm excited. What's that say?
Also Pakola.
Oh, okay.
Just in Urdu.
That's more like a 3 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
good.
Let's try the Paki Cola. I'm more hopeful about this because there's lemons on it.
Well, this one also has lemons on
True,
it. It's
true.
Green lemons. It's got limes on it.
Yeah, right. All right, let's try it. The last one. Okay. Smells better. Packy cola. It's better, but
not
only
by much.
marginally. Only marginally. Only marginally. It's like a... Hold on. Five out of 10.
Okay, and
Maybe even... You know what?
What was Limca for you?
Three.
So this is 5.
5. Maybe even... Yeah, let's stick with 5.
Yeah, let's not get over. We gotta give them the motivation to keep improving.
I mean, I'm being brutally honest, but it's much better than the Indian one. It's like actually tastes like lemon.
Oh yeah, this is definitely better.
Yeah. What do you rate that?
6.
Yeah, fair.
6.
Fair.
This is closer to. This is actually, I think, a better Solo because Solo also has a shit taste.
Yeah. So yeah. You're pretty
I think
fair.
this is better than Solo.
Yeah.
I would be okay if this replaced Solo in all supermarkets in Australia.
Look, I wouldn't go that crazy, but it's definitely good. It's definitely good. It's not.
Like replace Coke.
It's not bad. The Indian one is suffering.
Yeah.
There's something bad there. There's like they need to tweak the recipe. Like it just tastes like. To be honest, I thought when I tried a soft drink, I'm like, oh, it tastes fake. Soft drink tastes like like a Coke tastes like the flowing rivers of the Cascade Mountains compared to that. It tastes natural.
Okay, so the highest rated thing for you was Chili Milli, which
I have one more.
which is bizarre.
So good.
And the worst thing for you was Limca?
No. The worst was, remember, half a star.
Slanties.
Took.
Took. Dude, Took is not bad at all.
Took is fucked. Took is fucked.
It's not Took, it's Tuck.
Tuck is fucked. But these little chilies are really good. I like it. Honestly, these are good. I like them.
All right, okay. Okay, let's switch some gears. I hope you enjoyed that.
That was good. Do you
we'll
want
do
one
that
more?
with Jordan? No, I'm good. But don't eat like crispy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Eat lollies if you want
I'll
to.
just have. I might as well finish these. It's a
Okay,
unique
yeah.
experience.
All right.
No crispy. Thank you, man.
No worries.
That was sick. Look, everyone's lollies and stuff are going to be kind of weird. The one that was the saddest though, there was this particular sadness to the chips, those pasta chips.
Yeah, they're just, dude, they're worth like a few cents, and you have to like produce them, make a profit on those few cents. Like the quality suffers.
Are they made in Pakistan?
Yeah.
Right.
All these are made in Pakistan except for the rusk.
I'd love to see the chairman.
Do you know what these are called in Urdu?
Which ones?
These rusks?
What?
Papa.
Why?
I don't know.
Papa.
Oh, no, actually. It comes from Papa Dums. Because they kind of like have that crispy Papa Dums thing.
I tell you what, if you busted out some papadons now, I'd be like, that's a 10. I love papadons.
Well, you don't have Papa Dums.
Anyway, that was cool though, man.
All right, perfect. At least display the packets on the table. Oh, okay, we can do that.
Good idea. Good idea.
Put this.
Oh yeah, good call. One more.
Stop it. And of course, slanty eyes. We gotta keep this on the table too.
This is fucked.
This is pretty bad, yeah.
There we go. Ah, whatever.
All right, okay.
That was it. That was good. That was good. I mean, I feel like, hey, now I don't have to travel to Pakistan or India. I've tried all the traditional foods.
You are now as capable as any 8-year-old living in the streets of Pakistan.
You know what I'm gonna do a Croatian version of this.
What's that?
Like a Croatian tasting.
Let's do that. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
But yeah, hell yeah. Tuck.
Okay, let's switch some gears.
Let's switch it up, man.
I have been getting a lot of requests from for a fair bit of time about the situation in Pakistan and Imran Khan, and I thought while we were
Hell
doing
yeah.
Desi
Yeah.
snacks, let's talk about that.
I want to know.
Jordan isn't here, unfortunately, because he actually wanted to talk about this as well.
Yeah.
But we'll go into a little deep dive, right? To understand what is happening. Well, look, you don't really need to, but like, I'm gonna start from the fucking beginning.
Dude, I'm keen.
So,
Because you've got a heady subject and I've got one after it. So it's like,
and right after that, we'll do.
let's deep dive.
Okay, so when the British were still in control of the Grand Indian subcontinent, it included India, what is modern day India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, all together, right? And then what happened was, actually, this is an interesting
Also
one.
known as Gondwana land.
This is an interesting one because I'm gonna go even further back.
Okay.
Around early 1900s, even before the partition took place, when the talk about self-rule of India had become apparent, that like all the political leaders of India wanted to become free from British colonization, they started asking for rights and self-determination. And some Muslims at the time were like, hang on a minute, this is a bad deal for us. Because numerically, we're challenged by the Hindus. Sorry, not Indians, because all of them were Indians. By the Hindus. So the Muslims felt that there's no way we can ever get a representative of our own in parliament, because the numbers are just so far and huge that there's no way that we can compete with them.
Yeah.
So they came up with this demand from the British. This has parallels to the referendum that we're about to vote in, the voice. So I'm not going to go too deep into voice, but you'll understand what I'm trying to say by this policy. So the Muslims demanded a concept called separate electorates, demanding the British that we will be loyal to you, right? We're not asking for complete separation, but you have to give us this one demand, separate electorates. Separate electorates was that because they couldn't compete in normal democracy because of the number of Hindus, they said that you should have separate Muslim seats where only Muslims will vote on those candidates.
Right.
Right? So let's say in the parliament there's 200 seats. 50 of those are Muslim reserve seats that only Muslims will vote in to elect those. And the rest of the 150 are normal seats that the rest of the Indian population, Hindus, will vote on, right? This was something that obviously the Hindus and Congress, the Indian National Congress, which was a party, didn't want. They didn't agree to it. They didn't like it because why would you want to dilute your own power?
Yeah.
Right? But the Muslims demanded that. And around the First World War, they said that if we will support you in this war effort, we will mobilize people for you to fight against the Germans and the Turkish, the Ottomans and whatever. But if you agree to our separate electorate demand. And eventually the British do agree to it, right? Now what happens is, as a consequence, which was an unforeseen consequence at the time, which plays later, is that because the seats of Muslims and Hindus were separate, all of a sudden, you didn't need the Muslim leaders to try to woo Hindus, and you didn't need Hindu leaders to try to woo Muslims.
It's
because
segregated.
They were segregated.
Yeah,
so this was a forced segregation.
Right.
And the consequence of that was that the division between the two communities only widened because of this.
Yeah.
So in hindsight, it wasn't a good idea.
Right.
I mean, it depends who you ask. I would argue that it wasn't a good idea. Anyway, so then like eventually as the British started to become weaker and weaker, it became more and more obvious that they have to leave at some point. And around the mid 20th century, it became obvious, particularly after the Second World War, that the British are going to have to leave. Now, the Muslims were now saying that, hold on a minute, the separate electorate is fine, but if you leave, they're not going to agree to this for long. We're going to be screwed. So we need a separate homeland for Muslims. And so you give us all those areas in India that are Muslim-dominated, become part of a new country. And all
What
the
year was
areas-
this? What year was
This
this?
is 1940s, the early 1940s, and it eventually happened in 1947.
Holy shit. So it was one country before then.
Yeah, it was all one country.
What was it
before
called?
That. It was the Indian, like the British, the British India.
British India.
Yeah. Well, funnily enough, the name India comes from the river Indus, which flows in Pakistan, not in India.
Ah.
In fact, like when India named officially India, the founder of Pakistan, Jinnah, was laughing at that. I was like, what kind of a joke is that? Because like you don't even
Right.
have the Indus.
Holy
Anyway, so like
shit.
it used to be one country.
Wait a sec. But before the British came,
Yeah.
what was it? It was not
So these were independent kingdoms. There wasn't like one
Right.
unitary thing.
But they're not even countries.
No. This is like nation state is a new idea.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that new. That's all.
Yeah. No. It's new. So like
Right.
they used to be like these empires. There would
Okay.
be certain empires controlled most of what is India and Pakistan today. So you would consider them to have made a country.
Right.
These included old ancient Hindu empires, even a Buddhist empire. Then the Muslims came in and Muslims started controlling it. And then you would lose and you would gain. But the idea that one nation state with the boundaries demarked actually came into being in its sort of primitive sense when the British were governing
Right.
with British India. And then eventually, once the British left, then official nation
Yeah.
states were formed, and that's the modern sense of India that we talk about.
But during that period,
Yeah.
you know, there was like Europe had like Germany was Germany, France was France, right? Those lines had been drawn.
Yeah, but they were also not France. It was the French Empire. It was the so they were constantly invading, taking over parts, losing it. So it was a dynamic boundary. It wasn't ever fixed.
I mean, that is the history of the world.
Yeah.
Like Jordan was telling me, England was once, owned by Rome, and there was no Anglo-Saxons there.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And so throughout history, we've lived in empires that
Yeah.
when they got
Age of like the game Age of Empires, which I was very good at.
Yeah. So essentially, what happens is the Muslims demand for a separate country. Obviously, the rest of the Indians, including Hindus, they didn't want it because why would you want to chop off a part of the country? And particularly in the case of Sikhs, they were all sitting on the edge of both those communities. So like part of their land would go into Pakistan part, so they didn't like it either. And honestly, initially the British didn't really entertain that thought either. They were like, because during they needed Muslim help for the war support, so they were like entertaining the idea. They were like, yeah, we'll think about it. We'll think about it. If you stay loyal to us, we'll think about it. But there was no really, it would have been unheard of for it to even happen. Until the tensions between Muslims and Hindus started becoming larger and larger. That still wouldn't have done it. Until like the British Army came up with this idea. They went to the Prime Minister, and we've got records of this, where they said, hang on a minute, why are you not letting this happen? This is a good thing. And they're like, what do you mean? Why would we want to divide India? And they're like, we want to divide, this would be the best thing that's ever happened. Because the founder of India, Nehru, who became the first Prime Minister, was, let's just say, if not Soviet aligned, then very soft on the Soviet Union. India.
Ah.
And Pakistanis weren't so soft on it. They envisioned themselves as like a capitalist country following the American stuff. So the British, the British Army said, this is a great thing. If you divide India, then we can have this sort of bulwark state that keeps control of Soviet expansionism.
It's always the case, eh?
This is obviously, if you go to India and Pakistan, neither of those countries will necessarily say this. But it's, now we know that's the reality. There's a very good book called The Pakistan, the Garrison State, which goes deep into this and gives further evidence of this more.
What
and
is a
more
garrison state? Like a defense?
Yeah, like a defense, a state that's meant to be to pursue Western interests in India.
Right.
In case that, India goes too red.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then the British started becoming more and more agreeable to the idea of partition. And as a consequence, eventually, because the British were doing this, they partitioned India into two countries, in what is now India and Pakistan. At the time, Bangladesh was also Pakistan. It was called East Pakistan. Because on both flanks of the Indian subcontinent, you had large Muslim populations, so both became East and West Pakistan.
Right.
Now, the other dynamic that happens is that what modern day Pakistan or like Pakistan wasn't in the industrial area of India. It was at best an agricultural breadbasket.
Right.
But most of the advanced tech industries were actually in what is India today.
Right.
And so when the partition happens, you get this division, but it's not like a piece of bread being divided into two. It's one side gets most of the industries and the other side gets nothing, right?
Yep.
But the British military, the Indian British military, most of it came from what is now in Pakistan and India's Punjab, right? So this is a small area that recruited most of the army officials.
Right.
So even though Pakistan got very little of the economic pie, it got a huge chunk of the military.
Right.
Right? And so then this military goes into this country trying to make scraps of what they can do. And because the British had sort of made Pakistan as this Cold War bulwark state, Pakistan's entire economy started revolving around using its geostrategic location to extract funds from the Western powers against the Soviet Union and use their rather large military to basically fight the dirty wars for them.
Right.
Right? And this was working.
Wait, India wasn't doing that.
India wasn't doing that.
Oh, okay.
India was what joined this. In fact, they started what was called the non-aligned movement.
Right.
There were a few countries in this movement, like Egypt, Indonesia, that basically wanted to. They said that they were non-aligned in the sense that we're not in any camp. We're not in the Western camp. We're not in the Eastern camp.
So Pakistan was like the front against Russia, more or less, and
or at
India
least
was
because
Pakistan was containing India too, really.
Yeah, that's how they looked at it, and which is why they were willing to give them money for it. So the aid started flowing in,
right?
And because it had a rather large army that could be utilized. And
what about Bangladesh and all this? Just chilling.
Bangladesh was a poor part of India.
Right.
It had some raw materials that it would export. But it was, as soon as the partition happened, when West Pakistan and East Pakistan were divided, West Pakistan, to be honest, just exploited East Pakistan a lot.
Okay. Gotcha.
There was a whole host of cultural stigmas attached to being from East Pakistan. You were considered to be poor, unindustrial, all of that shit. Eventually it got to a point where they got fed up, and in 1971 they did their own version of a partition. And not a partition, but they basically just went for independence. India helped them achieve that because they didn't want two enemies, rather have one enemy. And so
that was Bangladesh.
That was the birth of Bangladesh.
Really? But I thought Bangladesh was Hindu.
No, it's Muslim.
Oh, okay.
It's Muslim, and so then East Pakistan goes away, becomes Bangladesh, and now you're just left with Pakistan now, which used to be West Pakistan, with a big army that's essentially renting it out itself as mercenaries in different positions. To fight against the Soviet Union and extracting foreign aids and funds through that process. And this was working. So essentially, obviously, because of this setup, you had the military having disproportionate control over the country because it's already a large military. It's well equipped. It has all the latest gadgets that the U.S. was supplying it.
Yeah.
And it also received most of the military funding, so it was a rich thing. And so they essentially started controlling the country. And even when the civilian powers were in control, really the army had all the power behind the scenes. Sometimes they would come in, sometimes they'd install a martial law where literally the army chief would become the head of state.
Right.
And other times when that got too much and the people sort of went against them, they went to the background, they got someone else. But all the important decisions were still being taken by the military.
Right.
And the thing is, every politician that went against the military eventually was kicked out either to a different country, put in jail until they told their opinion to conform with whatever the military wanted them to. Imran Khan was actually one of those politicians that the military built up. Because the military, there was a two-party system. There were two major parties. And both those parties,
Is it like Liberal and Labour?
Kind of, for like a
Right.
better, yes, let's say that. Both the parties were obviously not doing anything that's too against the military, because that would get them in jail,
Yeah.
and sometimes they did, and they eventually were thrown in jail or were just sent to exile, whatever it might be. So the military wanted a third force that they could control even more than however much they could control the other two parties. So Imran Khan was an ex-cricketer turned politician who was popular to some extent, not a like a celebrity. He was a celebrity, popular person. No one would vote for him, but people would watch his interviews. He was just he was a star.
Yeah.
And they slowly built him up.
That was something they're probably grateful for English occupation about, for cricket.
Yeah, both the countries
Yeah.
fucking absolutely love it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that they would love. Dude, Pakistan still thinks like, this is the other thing. Even though Pakistan, because of the circumstances that it was partitioned, they don't really hate the colonizers.
Right.
You would find in India, people would be more anti-British.
Yeah.
But in Pakistan, people would be like, nah, they were great.
Oh, really?
In fact, if you go now, they'd be like, oh, they were running the country way better than what we're doing now. Like, fucking Oz them back.
Right.
So it wasn't like this extreme
Okay.
animosity.
Right.
Anyways, so Imran Khan was sort of built up as this political beast. There's these, one of the ways that the army controls the government is they have these MPs, right? The members of parliaments. They're basically on their payroll.
They're plants.
They're plants. And so anytime they want a particular party to win power and form government, they ask all of these lanky paid parliamentarians of theirs to join the party that they want to win. And they bring in about 60, 70 seats, and then the other party would bring in some, and voila, you've got a government for yourself.
Right.
So they do that with Imran Khan. They give him all of these people, all of these parliamentarians that brought him seats, and eventually gave him the power where he became the prime minister. But like every other prime minister before him, as soon as he gets into power, he starts now having conflicts with the military.
Right.
There's a few conflicts, but the biggest conflict was that one of the things that the military hates is technically the chief of army is appointed by the prime minister, right?
Yeah.
The prime minister has the authority to choose from a list of candidates in the military who's going to be the military chief.
Right.
But in reality, if you don't choose the one that the military wants you to choose, usually the outgoing army chief, then you're in a whole host of trouble.
Right.
Because you're interfering with their domestic matters. Irrespective of the fact that constitutionally that's not their domestic matter.
Sure.
That's how they look at it. And Imran Khan did the same thing. He had beef with a certain general who was the head of the intelligence agency. Imran Khan didn't like him. He got rid of him and appointed his own general into that position. That pissed off them. And the military and the army chief of the time started having issues with Imran Khan, where Imran Khan basically started telling him that, I'm the prime minister.
Yeah.
I'm elected by the government. You have to follow what I say.
It's crazy that the military can be that strong. I know that's probably the case in America too, but it's like, is it a numbers thing? Is half of Pakistan in the military?
Is half of Pakistan in the military? No. It's not half of Pakistan. It's a ridiculous amount of people. I think their military is about 500,000 people, maybe.
What's ours?
Less than that. Way less than that. But I'm talking about just personnel.
So it's just it just wigs me out that the military can run a country, but
they can run a country, and not only can they run a country, they can really screw with you if you don't agree to them. And so when Imran Khan started pissing off the military,
I suppose it's the money, right? The military is the economy, main economy.
Yes, but the problem now that we're facing is so remember how I told you that most of the country's economy is run through
military,
foreign aid.
Yeah.
The U.S. initially, the U.S. giving money
to
Pakistan to fight against the Soviets, right? And then the Soviet Union collapses. So all of a sudden, the U.S. decides...
Was that the Taliban?
What?
Didn't they fund the Taliban or something?
They did. So they did that, again, through the Pakistan military.
Gotcha.
And so the Pakistan military helped them build up the Taliban.
Yeah.
This sort of Mujahideen force, this radical Islamist movement to fight with the Soviet Union. they sort of brainwashed them, said that this is jihad, this is against, the infidels who have come here to take your land, and you have to fight them. And the Afghans were more than willing to fight any kind of foreign oppressor. So they do that, and then the Soviet Union collapses as a consequence. This is something that Pakistan, in hindsight, really did not want. Because as soon as the Soviet Union collapses,
they're useless.
Yeah. What's the point? There's no global war.
Yeah.
Fukushima writes a book, The End of History, where we're done with those ideological debates.
Right.
Right? And so all of a sudden, Pakistan is in this situation where, the tap just closes, right? And this is the same time. They've been fighting with India this whole time. They've fought 3 wars. Jesus. And America, throughout the wars with India, were like, look, Pakistan, we're on your side, but like not when you fight India. We're not going to help you with that. And like, anything that you want, you've got to fight the Soviets, don't fight India. Yeah. But they kept doing it, and the Americans just ignored it because Pakistan was important to them to fight the Soviets, and so they would just ignore it. By the 90s, the Soviet Union had collapsed. America's use for Pakistan had diminished greatly. And in the meantime, the Indians had detonated had done their nuclear tests for the nuclear bomb. Right. And as soon as that happens, Pakistan starts developing their own nuclear bomb. And in the 90s, throughout the 80s, the Americans knew that Pakistanis were also developing a nuclear bomb, but again, they ignored it because of their use in the Afghan war. And as soon as the Soviet Union collapses, Pakistan, at some point in the 90s, tests its own nuclear tests, and America puts massive sanctions on Pakistan because, again, there's no Soviet Union boogeyman, and Pakistan is about to have to change this model that they have, because the money is now, not only is the aid not coming in, but now you've got sanctions. Right. So the economy started shrinking.
Wasn't England still giving money?
No one was giving money to Pakistan. Right. England by this point had ceased to become a power that was giving money. It was the Americans. England was there during the colonial times. And so the money stopped, and the Pakistani state, the economy started shrinking, where they would have had to change something, and then something from, I guess, their sinister perspective, great happened. 9/11 happens in 2001. As soon as 9/11 happens, Afghanistan becomes the hotbed for Al-Qaeda, and then all of a sudden, the U.S. wants Pakistan's help again in Afghanistan.
Fucking hell, yeah.
And so the whole thing changes again.
Yeah.
We're back to the Soviet times.
Right.
Millions and billions of dollars are rolling into Pakistan to fight this war against Al-Qaeda and Taliban. The military gets fatter and fatter. The country actually makes more money. This is when I was a kid and I was growing up. It was a great time.
Fuck.
There were concerts. It was amazing.
Isn't that kind of sad that war can be such a money? Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very sad that that's what.
But then, the problem was that Pakistan had their own vested interests. They didn't really want to get rid of Taliban because if they got rid of Taliban, then India would gain more influence in Afghanistan. So they played this double game throughout the early 2000s.
Right.
And by the end of early 2000s, the U.S. had realized that this double game is going on. And so the aid started to go down.
Yeah.
And then in 2011, when Osama bin Laden is found in Pakistan.
Oh, he was in Pakistan.
Yeah, he was in Pakistan.
Oh.
Which, by the way, I know with very, very credible sources in the thick and thin that the Pakistani military and the politicians had no idea that he was there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they were hiding him.
Well, no, that's what everyone assumed. It's how would you? That's what the U.S. assumed as well.
Yeah.
But and I think it was Obama's the ambassador, the U.S. ambassador in Pakistan after Osama bin Laden. Obama asked him in a call and said, "Hey, were they hiding this guy all along?" And the ambassador was one of the few people to have said at the time, "I don't think so."
Right.
I think this is a massive intelligence failure on their part.
Yeah.
Or
it's possible.
They just weren't looking. Yeah. When we were asking them to look, they weren't looking.
Yeah.
Anyway, that doesn't matter. But the thing was, that was enough material for the U.S. politicians to be like, fuck Pakistan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now the aid started to dwindle again.
But just to note too, ironically, they invaded Iraq, but then there was the weapons of mass destruction, but that was purely oil, right?
Yeah, but they can do it. They're rich. They're big.
Yeah.
Countries like Pakistan that are basically just renting out their military don't get to make those calls.
But I'm just saying, Iraq got really fucked for no reason.
Yeah.
No reason at all.
Yeah, so did Libya.
I don't know much about Libya.
Dude, honestly, so did Afghanistan. You really had to just get rid of the Al-Qaeda. You really had to just get rid of Osama bin Laden. Chomsky talks about this all the time, like how
it's a proxy.
The problem was that, like, after 9/11, the U.S. just wanted revenge. And revenge is different to, like,
justice,
good policy and justice.
Yeah.
No one is saying that Osama bin Laden shouldn't have been punished for what he did. But is the way to do that by, like, literally fucking hitting an entire country with a sledgehammer?
No, fuck no. But it's just crazy that Bush, that they thought, Cheney really was like, it's crazy that Cheney was like, you know, we'll just hammer Iraq. It's like, they're not even involved. It's like hammering China. There's no involvement. Anyway, that's a whole different story, but yeah.
I mean, there's like other geopolitical interests that they had.
Oil.
Well, yes, oil and others, amongst other things. They didn't like Saddam Hussein. They didn't like how he was. Right. He was a very anti-West man. Right. So they had to get rid of him, just like they had to get rid of Gaddafi. Like, dude, again, there's a reason why Gaddafi wanted to build a nuclear bomb, because he's like, dude, I'm next. Any country that has the bomb hasn't been invaded. That's why Iran wants to develop it too. Right. Anyway, so the military wants to prop up Imran Khan to take control of the politics even more. Imran Khan gets into a fight with the military. This is
post 9/11.
Yeah, this is way post 9/11. This is recent. Now we're coming to recent times.
Okay.
And then, like, Imran Khan basically instigates the population, because he's really popular, against the military.
And at this point, the money's running out?
The money is shrinking, right?
Gotcha.
So everyone's hungry.
Yeah.
And so the military just is now super against Imran Khan.
Because he's doing these moves.
So now they've put him in jail.
Right.
Apparently there's a camera in his bathroom.
Right now?
Yeah, right now he's in jail.
Fuck.
If you say anything in support of him, there's a good chance you're going to end up in jail.
Fuck.
It's become pretty authoritarian.
But the people love him.
The urban population loves him.
Right. Oh.
I would say most of the people probably like him at this point.
Okay. Isn't that interesting, the urban population?
Yeah.
That's strange. Because why? They're the intellectuals.
Well, look, that's the whole thing in this. So the Pakistani political system is based on a system of patronage. Patronage in the sense that usually it's a pretty corrupt system, right? So you would have head of a clan or a family or a tribe, whatever is like relevant in your part of the country. That head of the family is going to get all the votes from his clan, right? Irrespective of how good of a bad man he is. And his sole job is to go into government, become a minister, become a parliamentarian, extract contracts for public spending, and distribute it amongst your people.
Oh, yeah. It's tribalized.
Yeah, tribalized. So all of them are doing it. And this is a really old school rural system. When people started to move into the cities, they lost that patronage hook that they had in rural areas, and all of a sudden their issues became different. They started talking about elected officials that weren't necessarily part of their clan, but were representing their interests. Sort of like how it is in Australia. And Imran Khan represents that group. The urbanized people that have lost their linkages of patronage system into rural areas.
Right, I gotcha. Okay, yes. But morally, same thing? Like he's not, you know what I'm saying? Is it a different, just because he's representing them, what, are they saying, they're not saying abolish the fucking military.
No, they're not. But man, I'm going to be honest, people would get upset by this, but not really different.
Yeah. I wouldn't be.
He was still following the same he was still doing the same mistakes.
Yeah.
Anyways, now the point is Pakistan is a hopeless place in the sense that people they've lost a lot of hope. The economy is shrinking. Fuck. On one hand, the U.S. doesn't need you for any military objectives. On the other hand, there's this global competition with China, and Pakistan is being seen as in China's camp, and India is now seen as being in the U.S. camp. So kind of the opposite of what it was during the Cold War.
Yeah.
And so Pakistan is just it's got an ever contracting economy that needs to go through massive reforms to essentially move away from this like
old school
aid-based system that you got from other countries, distributed amongst your own people, didn't pay any tax, and it was fine because as long as the aid kept coming in, you were somewhat viable. Now that's
crazy.
gone.
Yeah.
So there's intense anger.
Yeah.
And like obviously the military is still trying to keep control, and so they're putting anyone that goes against them in jail.
Fuck.
If there's no talk of elections, they've created this interim government, which is basically just like appointed people that aren't really elected, and the conjecture is that they're probably going to be in power for the foreseeable future until the military is ready to hold an election.
Fuck. And he's in jail right now.
And he's in jail right now.
They're not going to kill him?
I don't think they'll kill him. They'll create more problems for him. They just want to make him irrelevant. They want people to like stop caring about him.
You said there's a camera in the jail.
Yeah, apparently there was some news article that I read today where he's complaining that there's a camera in my bathroom. Because he's being constantly monitored through CCTV cameras.
Is it getting dangerous now? In Pakistan,
Well, no, because, danger usually comes with instability. When the military has an iron grip and puts anyone that's against them in jail,
there's no riots.
It's stable. Yeah, there's no riots. It's rather peaceful, honestly.
Really?
No one there does anything bad.
Here's a question. You say that, this is their history, right? How predisposed is a country to live out their lives, let's say, as a country, dependent on their history, if that makes sense? Like, I don't know, like Australia, let's say, Australia's economy, I would say, has been exports mainly, I'd say, and then some industry here and there. I guess what I'm asking is, how much is a country's economy predetermined on, like, essentially habit or fate, or how much can it be changed? Does that make sense? Like, South Korea changed theirs pretty radically.
Yeah, so there's a
do you get what I'm saying? Like, can Pakistan do a South Korea, or how could South Korea have done it? Or do countries usually, they start their economy, like, let's say England's economy started as like an empire, and now it's still just an empire, just a shitty empire. Is that you can't change it, or you can change it?
Look, you can change it, because like if you had asked me this question maybe 50 years ago, I would have said maybe not. But now with the East Asian tigers, these countries like Vietnam, China, South Korea, Japan, Vietnam is obviously not on their scale yet, but it's growing. It's one of the success stories.
So
these are all countries.
You can change them, but not when the military is in control.
Well, here's the thing. So you need to have, first of all, one of the things that makes you a rich country is natural resources, right? Straight up. So a country like the US is naturally gifted. A country like Australia is naturally gifted.
It's just lucky.
Right? So there's a much, much better chance for you to get rich.
Yeah.
Then you have countries like Nigeria which have that but still don't get rich, right? So it's not a done thing.
Yeah.
But it makes your life a hell of easier.
I know what it is. It's resources and a government that isn't completely corrupt.
Well, but the question is, how do you get that, right? How do you get a government that isn't completely corrupt, that is working for the bigger picture?
Yes.
It might be an elite. There might be a few people.
Like Turkmenistan, maybe.
Well, okay, so here's the other thing. This is my own hypothesis. One of the things that you really need for a country, particularly if you have no natural resources to get rich, is to have unity, right? Where everyone signs a social contract with the government saying that there's certain things I'm willing to give up because I have a contract with the government that you're working for the benefit of the rest of us. Pakistan has no social contract. People in Pakistan don't really think that the government is doing anything for them.
But no country does apart from China, right?
No, a lot of countries, all rich countries have that social contract. Australia has that social contract.
Because we pay taxes.
We pay taxes. There's a reason why we pay taxes.
Yeah,
Pakistanis don't pay taxes.
Bullshit.
It's one of the least taxed countries in the world. That's why it's
in
the situation that it is.
Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But
libertarian, free country.
No, but not.
I'm joking.
Not
I'm kidding.
Not like Saudi Arabia, where everyone doesn't pay tax.
Yeah.
In Pakistan, the rich don't pay tax, the poor pay tax.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but because the poor earn such little that their tax isn't...
That's fucked.
It's fucked. It's a horrible system.
That doesn't make sense.
That's why Pakistani economists call it elite capture.
Elite capture.
Yeah, where
as
the
in the elite
has
capture
basically
the poor.
captured the entire country and how it runs
Fuck.
for their own interest.
Jesus.
Anyway, so what you need to develop, what you need for that social contract to develop, usually, in my opinion, is a homogenous population.
Well, you have that.
No, you don't.
Racially homogenous, at least.
Well, they're brown, but they're not homogenous. So
What?
Pakistan and India,
Really?
like,
In Pakistan, no one. You're saying there's a huge variety of people in Pakistan.
yeah, huge amounts of ethnicities.
Really?
The country is divided into 4 or 5 provinces. Each province speaks their own language. They have their own
What?
culture.
Is that right?
They have, and they don't trust the other ones.
Really?
So the reason why Pakistan is actually in the situation it is, aside from all what I've said, is that the elites of these different provinces do not trust each other and
Right.
constantly cutting each other down.
But it's not a.
So
it's-
the only way you can actually grow is for everyone to get together
Right.
and come on this uniform common platform,
there's no.
which
but-
hasn't happened.
so it's an ethnic divide, but it's not a religious divide.
It's not religious.
Surely that could be the way to come together.
That's what, funnily enough, that's what the military tried to do.
Ah.
The military in the 80s came up with this new dictator
Assalamu
who was an
alaikum.
Islamist.
Yeah.
And he said, none of that shit matters. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you're Punjabi. It doesn't matter if you're Sindhi. You're all Muslim Pakistanis. And we're going to get together and we're going to build a country on the basis of that. Problem is, they didn't buy it. Because Islam is not as big of a force
As it was.
in politics,
Ah.
ever was, as these clan-based or
Right.
ethnicity-based divisions are.
Interesting.
So they failed.
Fuck.
So the only way you can actually get together is by getting all these people together and to work for a common good. But it's almost impossible to do it when you don't have a homogenous population. And so countries like China or countries like Korea
China's easy.
or countries like Japan
Yeah, easy.
are able to do it without any natural resources
That's
because
why.
they have homogenous populations
Right.
that aren't constantly fighting with each other.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Because I was going to say, America's not homogenized.
Well, it is.
It's predominantly white, but it's not
No,
homogenized.
it's not about being white. It's about, first of all, everyone in the U.S. speaks the same language.
So it's really
It's
that.
a big deal.
So language. I didn't know that. I didn't know that language was a big thing.
I mean, Spanish is sort of getting big, but America
Yeah.
is a homogenous population. Even in the okay, I want to. This is what I'm starting to say. The difference between Pakistanis isn't the difference between someone living in Arkansas versus someone living in Wisconsin. It's the difference between someone living in Italy and someone living in Slovakia.
Oh, I did not know that.
So which is what even the European Union has that problem. Part of the reason why the
Yeah.
euro is a shit zone
Yeah.
is because there's no unity.
Yes.
And so it's the same fucking problem
Yeah,
over there. It's
yeah.
just that they sort of independently got rich and formed this, so
Yeah.
it doesn't feel as bad. Whereas Pakistan just never got rich, so it's
Shit.
more pronounced.
Hectic. And India doesn't have this problem?
India has the same. There's a reason why India isn't where China is. It has the same
Yeah.
exact problem.
Right.
They're better than Pakistan in many which ways, which is why it's a better off country, but it has exactly the same problem. Which is why, by the way, the new Prime Minister Modi, who's this Hindu nationalist leader, is a Hindu nationalist because he is uniting all of India based on Hinduism.
Yeah, he's trying to do the same thing.
And hence he has to
push out
push out the
other
Muslims.
the Muslims. Yeah, other.
yeah, that's
the
why
other.
that's why the otherization of Muslims happened, because
Yeah.
you can't have that without
Yeah.
that's the only thing that people will get together for.
Isn't that strange?
It's
Human nature.
But the Europeans did that as well. One of the big things about being French is that you're not German. So you have to otherize someone in order to form that unity.
Yeah, that's kind of what national identity is,
Yeah.
right? It's that narrative.
And so that national identity in Pakistan is absent. The only way it can happen is if some kind of the politicians actually come up with some sort of consensus where they agree to the rules of the game and abide by the rules of the game and not just eat the state, because right now all the resources of the state are just being extracted by these people.
Shit.
Unless they figure out a way to collectively enrich the state, create institutions there's no way forward for Pakistan.
Is there any other examples of this apart from the European Union? Like this divide, I mean.
Well, it happens in look at most countries, like Africa. There's a lot of.
Well, that's
like
not a
we were talking
country.
about, we spoke about Niger
Yes.
last week.
Yes.
Same issue.
Same thing.
Farmers, pastoralists, different clans, different ethnicities fighting each other for the resources.
Right.
It's a very common thing. It happens in most countries, actually.
Do you think that, like,
Nigeria, sitting on it has one of the most resources. Congo,
yeah,
so many resources. Like,
yeah,
if you had a system that was efficient, these countries would be one of the rich countries in the world. But the reason why they're not is because there's too much infighting amongst the different.
Do you think that could happen to somewhere like England, where it's becoming ghettoized? Like, there's white flight, and then there's ghetto. There's a segregation happening.
Maybe, but it's too far off at the moment. English population is pretty homogenous as well.
Yeah,
they could have issues with like Scotland and Ireland again, because again,
yes,
different sort of cultures, different ethnicities.
Yeah.
You can have that sort of an issue, but I don't know if dude, if the state has to collapse for that to happen.
Right.
If for some reason in the future the UK just collapses and there's a vacuum, then you might have these issues where different counties are fighting against each other. I was watching this
Essex versus fucking North London and shit.
Dude, you should watch this doco on Netflix. I just watched it. I think it's Samurai something. It's based on like the Japanese clans when there was this civil war, when they used to keep fighting amongst each other. And then eventually, a unified Japan was formed. If the UK state collapses, then you would have something like that, where there'd be like different counties that have different sort of leaders
and that'd
be fighting each other to unify the country.
Right. But that happened in Japan, and they did unify.
Yeah.
Man, I did not know that. If someone said to me, like, what do they speak in Pakistan? I'd be like, Urdu. And if they were like, are there many different racial groups?
You know what's funny
I'd be like, no, sir. No, there's not, sir.
You know what? Okay, this will sort of tell you. The language Urdu, which is the national language of Pakistan, which is the lingua franca, is not even native to Pakistan. You know how I said India comes from Indus, which flows in Pakistan?
Yeah.
Urdu comes from India. It's not native to Pakistan.
What?
Yeah.
Can you only speak Urdu?
Yeah, you can. I only speak Urdu because my ancestors had migrated from India.
From India.
So Urdu is my native language, but it's not a Pakistani
But growing up in Pakistan, did you feel like these other clans were the other? Like you couldn't...
you could tell.
Yeah.
They used to call me, till this day, if I go in Pakistan, they would call me either, politically correct version of it is Urdu speaker.
Okay.
Which means to say...
Indian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or non-PC, but generally spoken, immigrant.
Really?
I was born there. My father was born there. His father was born in India. But the entire community is still called immigrant.
Wow. Oh my.
And there was definitely, because like we went to like a private school and we were kind of like,
the elites.
Yeah. And so when you're in the elite, those sort of differences become less and less. So I had friends who were from different provinces, different sort of things. They spoke different languages.
Because it's a poor thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had friends from all over.
Yeah.
And I was personally accepted. But I do understand if I was a poor person and I was from the immigrant community, I would be terribly disadvantaged.
Far out. That is crazy, man. I honestly didn't know that. It is very crazy. Like, because the thing is, right, it's being fucked on so many fronts. It's like no natural resources, no unity, like racial division, poverty, military, like coup or whatever you want to call it.
And
like
now, let's not forget the biggest issue
global
for
warming.
them, climate change. One of the most vulnerable countries in the world is Pakistan.
Really?
For climate change.
I mean, they had those fucked floods.
There's a reason why those... In fact, that whole area, but Pakistan is extra vulnerable.
Far out. I feel sad.
And I'm going there in a couple of days.
Jesus.
Yeah, by the way, guys, I'm going to Pakistan in a couple of days, so I won't be here for the next pod.
It'll be next 2 or just 1?
Maybe 2 actually.
Yeah. And then when
I think I land the Tuesday after next.
And then when he arrives, I piss off to London to see if that's collapsing. So so I leave the day he comes. So you're gonna get some no Ali.
So you're gonna get like no. Jordan's gonna be here throughout. He's not going. So it'll be next week. It'll be Mislav and Jordan, and the week after that will probably be me and Jordan until Mislav comes back.
Yeah, I guess so.
How long are you going for?
A month.
A month.
It's a long time, but I'll definitely Skype. We'll Skype one. You can Skype me in because I'll be at my dad's house. There's internet in Croatia. So I'll and I'm not like backpacking. Like I'm mainly going to fix my dad's house with him. Like I'm going to work. So like I'll do that. So I'll check in on the pod when I'm away. Like I'll do 1 or 2 if you guys want me to.
Anyways, heads up.
But dude, that is crazy. Like
let me just see if people have any more questions about this because they don't leave Jordan and Miss alone together. Well, too bad.
Too bad, fucker.
Isn't Jordan doing a show next week also? Is he?
I don't know.
I don't think so, but maybe.
Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Should be colonized by a Western country? No, I don't think that's a good idea. It's not going to solve anything.
Colonized by... I don't think being colonized...
You're saying like if Pakistan gets colonized again.
Well, those days are over.
The Brits drew the borders. Yeah, they did, and they did a shabby job at it, but like... It is what it is.
Yeah, like...
All right, man, we've got a few... We've got like maybe... This was a long one.
Yeah.
If you want to do one more segment, we can.
Yeah. It's an easy answer question. It's an easy answer question. Is capitalism inherent to our, way of living, almost DNA, or is this something that has been propagandized into us, and there are alternative systems, aka people being like, the way that people talk about capitalism now is they talk about the symptoms as being problems like recessions, this and that. You're never allowed to criticize in the media the foundations of the system. And is that false? Is that wrong? Is that a dangerous idea? Or is it something that should be explored more fundamentally?
Okay, before I go into that, I've got to ask you, what do you understand by capitalism? What's capitalism to you?
A free market, quote unquote, system, private enterprise. Really, I see it as like worshipping the dollar, because the problem is, right, this is how this started. Jordan, we're talking about immigration, and then Jordan brought it back. We talked ages about it, and he brought it back to the Byzantines, of course. And he was saying this was a society that had a market, had markets, had merchants, all that. But they also had spirituality, and they had kind of like a higher calling. They had a duty to their land in terms of they were happy to pay taxes. They had a responsibility to their land and their community. And he was saying the Venetians were just merchants that worship the dollar, and they kind of made income. Sorry, not income. They made money, this abstracted thing that doesn't have any value. Wall Street. It's not a real fucking thing. Wall Street, they're just like looking at it's all abstracted. So what I'm saying is, what I'm curious about is that the way that capitalism is like, oh, it's shit, it's unfair, but it's the best. That people say it's the best system we have. How valid is that? Because it seems that the world was pushed in the direction of this Venetian model. All of the West, all of the world, pretty much now, more or less. There's like capitalism light, but is this something that is inherent to us, or something that legitimately can be? There are alternatives. But yeah, that's my understanding of capitalism. Well, okay, it's more about the abstraction of wealth, like these jobs, like the stock market. I mean, what is that? These kind of things. These are like, the stock market doesn't exist in fucking nature. There's no value to it. It's purely speculative. So that's the question. That's what I'm more. And I was watching Chomsky, and he was saying
most of human history, most of it
has not been in that.
Has not been capitalist.
Yeah.
Most of human history has been hunter gatherers, right? Which was before
respect.
obviously capitalism.
Yeah.
Where it was largely egalitarian societies to a certain extent that were fighting with other clans, old school style system.
One more question before I forget. Just include this. Also, as an addendum, do we live in a capitalist system or do we live in a plutocracy? Continue.
Well, okay, well that's a very opinionated answer. Okay, so most of because human history is not based on capitalism, so we can't assume that the natural state of humans is capitalist.
Definitely
right?
not, yeah.
It usually the question of capital comes when we started getting surpluses. After the agricultural revolution, when we had more than what we could consume, we started building surpluses, which led to the agricultural feudal society. And then eventually, the feudal society morphed into a capitalist society with industrialization, right? And if you want to be an industrial country, and that's how you get rich, even in today's world, you have to be capitalist to a certain extent. There was disagreements to this, where this idea of communism was formed, but we can sort of largely agree that communism in itself was also a flawed theory and it failed. But what it was right in is saying that unregulated capitalism will do a few things. Firstly, it creates massive inequality, where some people will get richer and richer and some people will get poorer and poorer. And secondly,
Destroys the environment.
it will destroy the environment. But this is even if we don't take those things into account, but it sort of eats itself up.
Yeah.
It eats itself up because if the poor get poorer and the rich get richer, then there's nothing that the poor can buy from the rich because they have no money. So then you have to, in order for this capitalist system to survive, you need to ensure that a certain amount of poor people get enough resources where they can still buy the stuff from you so that you can continue to get richer. And this is where John Maynard Keynes, he came up with the thing of communism is not necessarily good, but capitalism needs state intervention in order for it to function properly. That is the sort of theory and worldview that we live in today.
When you say intervention, how so?
Well, if there's a 2008 financial crisis and the housing market collapses, then you need the Federal Reserve to inject money into it.
Right.
In a pure capitalist system, that you can't do that because the market needs to operate in itself. And if the market has screwed up to a point where, there's this massive recession, then you got to deal with it. That's a self-correcting mechanism, right? But we understand that the amount of suffering that might create is not worth it. So you need the state to intervene and sort of support the capitalist system to function.
Yeah, because recessions are inbuilt in the system.
Yeah, it's like exactly.
Yeah.
Recession is inbuilt in the capitalist system.
Yeah.
So you need a mediating force to be able to minimize the harmful effects of it. And so if that sort of capitalist system where largely, and the reason why we think capitalist system is also good is because one of the things that we learned from the Soviet experiment was that no matter how good your intentions as a state are, the needs of the people cannot be top-down controlled because you'll always screw it up.
Right.
You need people to be able to independently decide what their need is and to be able to take action on it. There's this example that just before Gorbachev, before the Soviet Union collapsed, they were going through this period of modernizing and figuring out how they can become more capitalist. They sent a delegation to England to just understand some of the policy making, how they do it. And one of the things that the Soviet delegation asked is we saw that there aren't that many lines for bakeries to buy bread. How do you ensure that there's enough bread all over the country for people to be able to swiftly get it without causing big problems? And they were saying this has been a big problem for us, and we try to create enough grain. And the British was we don't do anything. We just let the market decide wherever there's bread, we'll get. So this is what you realize, that when you're doing a top-down thing, no matter how good your intentions are, you will never be able to determine what everyone's needs are.
Yeah.
So people need to be able to decide what their needs are by themselves and act on it. So this is a good thing of capitalism, right? But then sometimes that system in itself can hit dead ends, and then you need the state to be able to intervene.
Right.
So is capitalism the way for us, or is it good or is it bad? It's just it's
Complicated.
it's an incorrect question. It's
Right.
like in some regards yes,
Yeah.
but in other regards no.
Right.
And what that balance is up for debate. That's why we have elections. That's why we choose politicians.
Yeah. And do you think it's the best we got?
Yeah, at the
Right.
moment, of course.
Right. Yeah.
Of course. The best countries in the world
It's
are
just-
mixed market countries.
Yeah.
Like the benchmark is what, like Scandinavia or something?
They say so.
Yeah. And if you look at them, then they're a capitalist country, but they have very strict controls.
But see, that's the thing. I guess it's measures then. That's a good answer, by the way. But I guess it's measures of how the state power versus the free market, if you want to call it that, or whatever power, the market power. Because would you say America is a plutocracy?
These terms are
Too vague.
plutocracy. Is it a kleptocracy?
I don't even know what
You
that
can
one
argue
is.
both ways. Yes, and it's no.
Yeah. It's just that, I suppose, people make talking points against, or in America, they make talking points against the Scandinavian model, but it's like, it does make sense if it's a mix. It's a mix of those things. It's like, seems like a pretty good thing then in that sense, in terms of like, you pay your taxes, have a high income, you have a good standard of living, but, you still are reasonably independent in terms of what your responsibilities are to pay the state and yourself. I want to buy a Tesla, but I also have to pay my taxes, that kind of shit. Yeah, you answered it pretty well, actually.
There's an argument whether you're happier if you have a Tesla or not. That's a different sort of. That's a philosophical question on this.
But what do you think about Jordan's point of, like, he was saying the Venetian, it wasn't even that radical. He was basically saying because of the Venetian model propagated money over everything else, no responsibility to the state, really. Kind of more or less religion light, no pure sort of independence, like you're an independent being in every way, this sort of weird perception of money. And he was saying the Byzantines was it was almost like the Byzantines was Scandinavia and the Venetians was America. And in that sense, to generalize, in that sense, I think today there's too much greed from everyone. There's too much emphasis on greed and like, I only care about me. There's not enough patronage. There's not enough feeling of responsibility to give back to the state or the community or charity or that kind of thing. And then also, they generally say that when spirituality goes down, a country collapses because they don't believe in anything more than these superficial things like, I need more money.
I don't necessarily agree with that view. Because I think the idea that, like, spirituality decreases, these are all symptoms of the collapse in itself.
Right.
And sometimes, dude, the collapse just happens because your time is over.
Do you think we're in a collapse? The West, the world.
I don't think we're in a collapse. We're graduating from this capitalist economy towards a more dystopian techno-feudal economy.
That's fucked. Yeah.
And obviously the sort of one of the other things that's happening is that the world is sort of realigning itself with the rise of this China phenomena, which is creating a lot of issues for people.
I mean, the world isn't stagnant too. It's always changing.
Yeah, it's always changing. And there's a whole host of reasons why it might change. I don't necessarily think, sometimes it's almost romantic to be like, oh, it's because people were less spiritual, or it's because they made money their god. I don't think these are root causes.
Right.
I think these are symptoms.
Right.
The root cause might be something way more hard, like maybe a plague that wipes out 35% of your population is going to have long-lasting effects on your empire.
Mm.
You know, things like that. That's also not the cause. It's one of the reasons. You know? It could be a whole host of reasons why that might happen. I think to simplify it to like one thing is that might be one of the factors. I haven't done enough research on Byzantine and Venetian economies to be able to give you like a well-researched answer on this, but I believe that that's not the cause.
Right. Because, he was definitely, I'm interested in the Byzantine thing now because he was saying, you know, he was also saying, you know, we were talking about, let's say, unfettered, unskilled immigration. And I was like, why does that happen? It doesn't help the immigrants usually. It doesn't even help the native population of a country. Let's say the West generally, like maybe the UK more, not so much Australia. And I was like, why is that? And he said, the reason that happens is because the elites of each country, so call it in America, probably the military industrial complex and financial, in the UK, financial, here, mining and infrastructure. He was saying, let's say the example of England, he was saying the reason they bring unfettered, unskilled immigrants is because the financial sector wants to appease the corporate world, and it's just more mouths to feed. It's just more money. It's more quick, cheap money. It doesn't matter if it destroys the
larger consumer base. You mean?
Yeah. Doesn't matter if it destroys the land, like changes the demography dramatically of a country or the culture or all that shit. He's like, that is irrelevant. It's just the elites. And I was just like, what do you mean the elites? And he was saying throughout history, there's always been elites. And he's like, these are the elites that actually run the country. The military industrial complex runs the states. Mining runs here. We got, you know, I think when the good governments are in, they can bend society to the good outcomes in nationalizing things as much as they can. And then I was like, is that will the elites of the world destroy the world?
Well, look, okay, let's stick to the unskilled immigration aspect of it. So I think it's just okay. So the unskilled immigration just in general is a post Second World War phenomenon. Like immigration has existed throughout history, right?
Yeah.
People move but this turbocharged immigration sort of happened after the Second World War, when all of a sudden you had this long perpetual time of peace. Even the sort of war was just Cold War. It'd be in some other country that doesn't matter as much to the big powers of the world. And most of the countries that were industrializing were producing things that you don't necessarily need a lot of skills for. So they needed unskilled immigration, particularly because like a lot of their working population just died in the war too.
Yeah. And I get aging population, but that's overplayed.
No,
but anyway,
it's not an aging population thing. It was just like they just needed people to work in factories.
Yeah.
They didn't have enough they didn't have enough workers working in these factories. And so the immigration sort of turbo boosted. It's from poor parts of the world to industrialized parts of the world because that's where all the factories were. Now, in today's world, the Western countries don't need unskilled migration as much because we're not making towels and shoes and stuff like that. Yeah. We're looking at skilled migration now, where we need software engineers, even if you talk about mining, we need people that have petroleum engineers that we don't have enough of them in Australia that we need in order for our economy to grow. So we look at other countries that will be able to supply us with that labor. Now we're shifting from unskilled to skilled migration.
Yeah.
Australia, England, the US, they're not looking for unskilled migrants anymore.
Right.
And so they don't necessarily want it.
But
some of them might argue that, well, it's just a good consumer base for us.
Yeah.
They bring in some kind of money. They'll buy more houses. They'll buy more. And that's true for certain people who think that that's enough of a benefit for them. But I don't know if all the policy is based on that.
Right.
If that was the case, then we wouldn't have these like skills assessment criteria for our immigration anymore. And we wouldn't be stopping the boats. We'd be letting the boats in.
Yeah. I think England is interesting because if they're elite power based seems to be financial based since like Thatcher, right? They're not building shit. I think the only impetus for immigration is mouths to feed, more consumers.
England went through this other issue because, like, if you look at their let's look at the Brexit debate.
Yeah,
They weren't necessarily trying to kick out Pakis. They were trying to kick out Polish people,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's because of the European Union. So free movement of labor means that there's no skills assessment, there's no criteria. You can just rock up.
Right.
And so they started getting this, like, you had this move from less industrialized parts of Europe to more industrialized parts of Europe without any quarantine, border control, none of that stuff. And that was creating an issue for them. That's based on this sort of free European Union idea, which is why most economists now argue if you don't want to create that cultural rift in your society, you need to ensure that any country that you have a free movement of labor agreement with is not a poor country. So, like, no one has issues in America about the free movement of labor from Canada, for instance. They don't care about that.
Yeah.
Because people aren't moving from Canada in droves because they don't have enough money.
To go on the dole.
Americans have issues with Mexicans moving in, right? And that's because unskilled labor. And
well, you have to house the people, yeah.
You have to house the people, right? So England's problem, or Western Europe's problem, was that they created this massive EU superstructure for greed, for the elite's greed, because they wanted to make more money without taking into account the sort of effects that it would have from less industrialized parts of the country to more industrialized part of the country. Particularly at a time when the more industrial parts of the country are going through this contractionary period anyways. So it's creating more and more issues. But we don't have that issues necessarily in Australia.
No, I know that. Australia's
soon enough, you will basically see very, very little unskilled migrants. It'll have to be like students who have studied in Australian universities or overseas professionals. That's why you have, like, most of the population coming from India, because they are skilled in computer-based computer sciences, information technology. And so we're getting a lot of those guys in. And they bring that two-pronged benefit, which is, one, you have the skills that you need, and secondly, for the elites, that they're going to buy houses and stuff.
Yeah. So you don't... yeah, okay. I mean, there's such big concepts. It's just... yeah, it's just an interesting thought that, like, the world is shaped by the whim of elites. Isn't that strange?
Yeah.
That's strange. That's kind of terrifying to me, because that's not a democracy.
No, it's not. That's why you need to, like, sometimes the elites, sometimes it's a good thing, but most of the time it's a bad thing. That's why you need big policies not to be taken by just the elites, by the entire population.
Because he was talking about people like Bernie and Jeremy Corbyn and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, but they're like lefty ideologues. And he was saying, no, do you know why they didn't get elected? And I was like, why? And he's like, because they were challenging big companies. They were saying, you know, tax them higher, which is not, who does that benefit? 99% of people. It like scratches the 1%, and it's like, it's not an unreasonable. If you said that to someone in plain English, they would agree. They're like, no, I think they need more billion. They need more arbitrary zeros on a. That's more important than some kid who can't go to school or eat.
Yeah.
So, but
well, if you're gonna say, like, you want Medicare for all, like Bernie did, that's gonna piss off a lot of pharmaceutical companies and a lot of big like hospitals that are making a killing off of it. So they're gonna convince different marketing campaigns that it's not a good idea to like Bernie. Yeah. So Jordan is right about that.
So, yeah, it's just an interesting. So, okay, how about this? What do you think is the best example? Like, what's the best country in the world? What's the best system? Scandinavia?
Australia.
You actually...
yeah.
Bunning snags.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, like, Scandinavia, sure.
Well, you settled that. Because, I don't know, like... it's funny because capitalism is kind of like a religion, you know. Even if you start saying something like, you know, there could be amendments to how it's run, people are just like, commie or whatever, you know. And it's like, that's not really fair.
No, it's
you
not.
know?
But I don't think that's that's a bigger issue in the U.S. In Australia, people understand that.
Somehow, for some reason, this is such a lucky country. I think the UK seems like a shithole, and America is really poor in America. It's like there's third world. There's like half the fucking country is the third world now. Not half, but there's a lot of third world vibe. And, you know, people can argue, you know, you get your conservatives that say there's too much regulation, this and that. Then you get more like progressive people saying it's like corporate greed and not enough investment in social stuff. But like sometimes I wish there would be a way to fast track us, like see results fast tracked. You know what I mean? And just to look at a city and be like, okay, like you try your thing, let's see what happens. And it's like, oh, that was like that. And then now you try your thing, let's see what happens. You know what I mean? Yeah. But also America, the thing with America that is a problem is it's so, you know that whole thing, like it's so, what's the word? I guess bureaucratic. Like they can't build a train line. It takes them so long.
Well, I mean, look,
is
it
that
takes
by design?
Everyone long now, but like,
is that by design?
Yeah, there's an argument that it's basically the
by
car
design.
manufacturers that have kept it that way.
Yeah.
They don't let investment flow into like public transport.
I mean, you could even argue with America, the whole popular vote thing. That was made to gerrymander, right?
Well, yes. In a way, yes. Hey, we're running out of time.
I guess we're pretty lucky to be in Australia.
Yeah, we're lucky, and so is the U.S. They're lucky to be in a resource-rich country, too.
But being poor in America would suck, man.
Yeah. They don't have those kind of safeguards or safe social nets that we do.
And ironically, you know, we all think...
You can get rich in America.
Yeah.
You can get really rich there.
Yeah, you can, and that's cool, too. But, like, it's a harsh land. And ironically, and it even worked on me, you get someone like Trump coming in, and you're like, yeah, he's going to fix my problems, when he's really representing the problem. You know?
Well, or he's just a symptom of the problem.
Yeah, maybe a symptom. I mean, he said he'd run the country like a business. I don't know if I understand that's a cool line, but it's like for profit? That's not gonna help people that are like dying. Like there are good people that, you know, can't do things, aren't capable. They might have mental problems. They might be veterans. They might fucking. There's so many ways for life to fuck you. And it's so brutal, you know? Even riding around I befriended some Turkish guy on my bike because we started talking. And even just seeing these like guys on the bikes delivering pizza, I'm like, does that have to exist in 2023? Surely these guys can, I get it. If you're not skilled, you got to do that. But it's like, why aren't they skilled? Probably because there wasn't good investment in education. Yeah. Like you can always go back to like, it was either the companies being greedy and or governments being greedy. There just wasn't enough investment into people. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think there's enough investment in like McDonald's, especially because ironically that is killing people. Like there's so much investment in things that kills people, Macca's, guns, all this shit, and it's like even if you took a tenth of like McDonald's quarterly income, a 20th, and put that into like, I don't know, like the initiative to reduce the need for Uber drivers so that they can like learn a trade or something. I don't know.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. Well, the end. That's the meaning of life, I guess.
It's the meaning of life. More investment on people, less investment in profits.
Yeah, just a little.
Just a little, yeah.
Like, I mean, not even a little, a lot, just something. It's just strange.
I can agree with that. That's also one of the critical things of what makes a country rich is
exactly.
a skilled working labor force.
And then because if you have skills, if we're going to be in this capitalist system, right? If you have skills, you have a higher income. And then you start buying things and you inject more money into the economy.
Yeah.
Like poor people, like you said, if they can't buy anything, which is a huge amount of America, it actually hurts everyone.
Yeah, it does. People, elites never look at the long picture like that. They look at their medium term and short term interests.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for being with us for the pod.
Next week, I guess me and Jordan.
I think next week it's going to be Jordan and Mislav.
I'll take photos of all this so I remember how to set it up.
Okay.
But yeah, there'll be some of that, and then I don't know about the next week after, the week after.
Thanks.
We'll see.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Toodaloo.